You walk into a room where there is only one person you have never seen before, and before you even have time to think about anything, your body has already reacted. Your shoulders rise slightly. Your voice sounds more controlled, almost rehearsed. You notice that you are smiling in a way that does not feel like your normal smile. You try to act natural. And that is exactly when you realize it. You are not being natural. You are performing. The words that normally come out easily now seem to take effort. You think twice before making a joke. You think 3 times before disagreeing with something. Your body is there, but part of you is watching the scene from the outside, monitoring every gesture, every pause, every silence, as if you were being judged by an invisible judge. The common explanation for this is simple. You are shy, or you feel uncomfortable, or you are simply not good with new people. But that explanation has never fully made sense, because the same person who freezes around a stranger can be relaxed, funny, and completely themselves around people they already know. It is not a lack of social skills. Something changes when the face in front of you is unfamiliar. And the strangest part is that you do not choose this change. It happens before you make any conscious decision. Your body has already reacted before your mind finishes processing who is standing there. This is not shyness. It is something else. A much older, quieter system deciding in a fraction of a second whether that new face is safe or not. And to understand why this system still exists inside you, we need to go back to a time when an unfamiliar face was never just a small detail. Come back with me to a world where the idea of a stranger meant something completely different from what it means today. In that world, your entire group could fit within a single glance. A few dozen people at most. Faces you saw every day, from birth to old age. You knew the way each person walked, the tone of each person's voice, the smell of each person. Those faces meant safety. They meant shared food, protection during the night, and help when a predator came close. And then, one day, a new face appears at the edge of the camp. In that world, this was never a small detail. A stranger could come from another group looking for the same land, the same water, the same hunting grounds. They could come alone, injured, or they could be a scout for a larger group hiding just out of sight. There was no way to know. And when there was no way to know, the body had to decide quickly. That is why, when facing an unfamiliar face, the entire body shifted into a different state. Breathing became more controlled. The muscles prepared. The eyes began tracking every movement. The stranger's hands, the distance between them, the direction of their gaze. None of this was consciously thought through. It was automatic, because the group that became cautious around a stranger had a better chance of spotting danger in time. And the group that became cautious around a familiar friend was only wasting time. This separation between our people and the others was not prejudice. It was a survival calculation. Instantly recognizing who belonged inside the inner circle and who did not could mean the difference between a peaceful night and a surprise attack. And there was another layer to this equation. Even when the stranger did not represent a direct physical threat, they created enormous social uncertainty. You did not know what they expected from you, what they thought of you, or whether they would bring an advantage or a threat to your place within the group. In a world where reputation and alliances determined who ate first and who received protection when they became sick, every new face was also an unanswered question about status. Will this encounter make me stronger, or will it leave me exposed? That is why the body monitored itself. Posture changed. The voice adjusted. Every gesture was weighed before it was made, because a social mistake in front of a stranger could spread, become a rumor, become a judgment, and turn into a mark that was difficult to erase inside a small group where everyone knew everything about everyone. So, when facing a stranger, the ancient body did 2 things at the same time. It prepared for a possible physical threat, and it monitored itself against a possible social threat. Can you feel how familiar this sounds, even without realizing it? This system never stayed behind in that camp, around that fire, in that moment. And this is where the most fascinating part begins. This system did not remain in the past. It is still running inside your brain right now. So let's understand how this system actually works on the inside. Because it is not just a vague feeling of discomfort. It is a process with different stages, almost like a security protocol running in the background. This is how it works. First step, detection. The moment an unfamiliar face enters your field of vision, a structure in the center of the brain called the amygdala goes into action before any conscious thought. The amygdala is like an emotional guard. Its job is not to calmly analyze the situation. Its job is to react quickly. It compares the new face with the collection of familiar faces stored in your memory, and when it does not find a match, it sends out an alert signal. This is not fear in the dramatic sense. It is a state of heightened attention, a signal that says, "Pay attention to this right now." Second step, the body's response. This alert signal does not stay only in your head. It activates the autonomic nervous system, the same system that prepares your body to act in any uncertain situation. Your heart speeds up slightly. Your muscles become a little more tense. The tone of your voice changes, because even your vocal cords are affected by this state of alertness. You do not choose any of this. Your body is already reacting while your mind is still forming the first sentence you are going to say. Third step, social vigilance. While the body prepares physically, another part of the brain goes into action. The network involved in social reading, the one that interprets facial expressions, tone of voice, and tiny gestures. Around a stranger, this vigilance increases dramatically because there is no past experience to help predict how the other person will react. Every word you say becomes calculated, and every silence is monitored because the brain is trying to predict, in real time, how this stranger is going to judge you. And this is where an important concept comes in. The sociometer. Researchers in social psychology describe self-esteem as a kind of internal meter that constantly monitors how accepted or rejected you are by the people around you. Around someone new, this meter becomes extremely sensitive because there is not enough information yet to know whether that interaction will lead to acceptance or rejection. And to the brain, this uncertainty is treated almost like a threat, because throughout history, social rejection meant losing protection, losing resources, and losing allies. Fourth step, the difference between the in-group and the out-group. The human brain has a natural, well-documented tendency to quickly categorize people into the in-group, those who belong to my circle, and the out-group, those who do not. Familiar faces activate areas connected to trust and reward. Unfamiliar faces activate areas connected to caution. This distinction happens almost instantly, long before any rational judgment about whether the person is good or bad. Fifth step, the negativity bias. The human brain gives more weight to negative signals than to positive ones. Around a stranger, this means that any unclear gesture, a silence, a neutral expression, or a cold response tends to be interpreted as a threat rather than a sign of safety. Not because you are pessimistic, but because, throughout human history, underestimating a real danger was far more costly than overestimating a danger that did not exist. An ancestor who mistakenly saw a dangerous stranger as harmless could die. An ancestor who mistakenly saw a harmless stranger as dangerous would only feel a little uncomfortable. The less costly mistake survived, and that is the bias you still carry today. Sixth step, emotional memory. Every uncomfortable interaction with new people is recorded, and the brain uses those memories to predict the next encounter. If you have ever experienced rejection, judgment, or embarrassment in front of strangers, that memory becomes emotionally connected to the situation of meeting a new person. And the alarm starts going off even more strongly the next time, even when there is no real reason in the present. Put these 6 pieces together, and you have the full picture. Automatic detection, physical activation, increased social vigilance, an instinctive separation between familiar people and strangers, a bias that pushes every unclear signal toward the negative, and emotional memory strengthening the pattern every time it repeats. All of this happens within seconds, without asking permission from your rational mind. To you, it simply feels like being uncomfortable around new people. To your brain, it is a complete security protocol being carried out, the same one that protected your ancestors at the entrance of a camp. So far, this explains why the alarm goes off. But it still does not explain why the modern world has made this alarm so difficult to turn off. But there is an even stranger part to all of this. This system was designed for a world where, throughout your entire life, you might see only a few hundred different faces, a small number of strangers each year, most of them seen once and never again. The new face alarm was a rare event, triggered only a few times and then turned off. Today, that same system is activated dozens of times a day. You step into an elevator with someone you have never seen before. You walk through a hallway full of unfamiliar faces at work. You join a meeting with people who, until that moment, existed only as names written on a calendar invitation. You sit at a dinner table next to someone a friend brought along and whom you are meeting for the first time. To your ancient brain, each of these situations is technically the same as meeting a stranger at the edge of the camp, and the entire protocol runs again. Detection, physical tension, social vigilance, and negativity bias. Except now, it happens several times a day, with no break between one alarm and the next. And this is where the modern world makes everything worse. The brain never received the update that most of these encounters are completely harmless. It still treats unfamiliar as another word for a situation that requires caution, even when the unfamiliar person is just a new coworker asking where the printer is. There is another layer to this. In the ancestral world, an encounter with a stranger usually came with a lot of information. You could see the person's entire body, the way they walked, their facial expressions, and the context around them. Today, many modern first interactions arrive in fragments. A text message with no tone of voice. A video call where you only see a face inside a frame, without the rest of the body or the full environment. An online profile with only one photo and a short introduction. The brain evolved to read complete signals, but now it receives only pieces. The uncertainty that remains is automatically filled in by the negativity bias. Less real information means more room for the alarm to imagine a threat where there may not be one at all. And there is a third factor, perhaps the quietest one of all. The frequency of these encounters does not give the body enough time to fully relax between one interaction and the next. In the past, the alarm went off, the situation was resolved, and the system returned to rest for days or weeks. Today, one meeting with new people has barely ended before there is another call, another introduction, another group chat with strangers joining in. The social alert system never has time to rest. It stays in an almost constant state of low-level readiness, like a guard who is never allowed to finish their shift. Think about a job interview. In that situation, the alarm goes off at full strength because, besides the person being a stranger, there is also a clear evaluation of your status. Think about a first date. The same protocol runs, with the added layer of a possible emotional connection. Think about walking alone into a party full of people you do not know. Multiple unfamiliar faces at the same time. Multiple alarms going off at once, each one demanding attention. Each one requiring you to read social signals at the same time. The result is a brain living in a state of chronic social vigilance, treating meetings, messages, interviews, and presentations as if they were all smaller versions of that moment at the edge of the camp. Except now, this does not happen once a year. It happens all the time, in a world full of faces that, to your ancient system, never stop feeling new. So, the next time you freeze in front of someone new, hear your voice come out strangely, or notice that you are monitoring every word before you say it. Remember one thing: you are not strange. You are not bad with people. You do not have some hidden personality flaw. What is happening is that a system built to protect a small group, in a world where unfamiliar faces could mean real danger, is being activated in a world that surrounds you with strangers all the time. The alarm is not irrational. It is simply outdated. It was designed to go off rarely, but today it goes off all day long. The problem is not that your brain is broken. The problem is that it is using an old map to move through a completely new territory. And there is a simple practical lesson in this. Something you can carry with you the next time you feel that discomfort. The tension that appears in front of a new face is not information about the person standing in front of you. It is information about your alert system recognizing only one thing. I do not have any history with this person yet. It is not a sign of danger. It is a sign of unfamiliarity. And those are completely different things. When you understand this, something changes. You stop treating the discomfort as an absolute truth about the situation, and you start treating it for what it really is. A first automatic alarm, fast and imprecise, that exists to get your attention, not to make the final decision for you. Giving your conscious mind a second to review that alarm before acting on it can completely change the way you move through these encounters. Your body sends the signal. You are not required to blindly obey it. This does not eliminate the discomfort. It will probably continue to appear because it is a deep mechanism, not a surface-level habit. But there is a huge difference between feeling the alarm and blindly believing it. One thing is recognizing the tension and moving forward anyway. Another is allowing that tension to decide, on its own, who you are capable of being in front of someone you do not know yet. Every new face you meet today silently carries the echo of a much older encounter. At the entrance of a camp that no longer exists, your body still prepares as if that world were still here, but you do not live there anymore. And knowing that is already the first step towards stopping yourself from confusing discomfort with danger. If this video made you see that awkward moment of freezing around new people in a different way, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next videos. We will keep digging through the silent instincts that still control modern life without you realizing it. One ancient mechanism at a time. See you next time.